Forks clinked. Conversations paused. Silence fell across the table. My mother stood at the head of the dining room, wine glass raised. 14 people turned to listen. Family, friends, colleagues. She grinned, that sharp, performative smile she saved for crowds. I'm so blessed to have 2 daughters. One is a lawyer arguing cases in D.C. The other wins, well, employee of the month at a grocery store. Laughter rippled through the room. Polite chuckles, knowing glances. I was standing behind the serving table. Hadn't even sat down yet. My hand tightened around the serving spoon. My face burned. My sister Callie smiled modestly, raised her glass in acknowledgement, like she'd earned the compliment through actual achievement, not just existing. I forced my face into a neutral expression, tried to breathe normally, but inside, something cracked. This wasn't the first time Mom had humiliated me publicly. Wasn't even the 10th. But something about this moment felt different. Standing there in front of 14 witnesses, while my mother reduced my entire existence to a punchline, something inside me broke, and something new started growing in its place. My name is Naomi Cruz. And this is how everything changed. I sat down anyway. Took my assigned seat at the far end of the table, away from Mom, away from Callie. My face was still hot, but I smiled, passed the potatoes, laughed at appropriate moments. Because that's what I always did. This wasn't new. I'd always been the dreamer in a family that worshipped titles and salaries. Callie made partner at 30, corporate law, 6-figure salary, corner office. I wrote poems that nobody read, sold used books at an independent bookstore for $16 an hour. Mom's friends asked what I did for work. She'd say Naomi's still finding herself. Like I was lost, incomplete, a project that hadn't quite worked out. Callie was the success story. The proof of good parenting. I was the disappointing footnote. But that night, sitting at that table while everyone pretended I hadn't just been publicly mocked, something shifted. I wasn't sad anymore. I was angry. And anger, I was learning, had focus. I tried to help in the kitchen after dinner, needed to do something with my hands. Keep busy. My aunt cornered me while I was washing wine glasses. Your mom just worries about you, sweetie. She doesn't want you to waste your potential. I looked up. Potential for what? You know, a real career, stability. She just wants you to be happy. I am happy. Are you, though? The question hung there, judgmental, pitying, like I was some broken project everyone was too polite to throw away. I forced a laugh. I'm fine, really. But inside I felt 13 again, standing in the guidance counselor's office while Mom explained that I was creative but unfocused. Code for, disappointing, but we're working on it. My aunt patted my shoulder, changed the subject, but the damage was done. Callie found me in the hallway, pulled me aside while everyone else was having dessert. Hey, don't take Mom's comment personally. I stared at her. How else should I take it? You know how she is. She just brags weird. She loves you. Does she? Callie sighed, pulled out her wallet, handed me a check, already filled out. $300. Here, for rent or whatever. I looked at the check. At her pitying expression, like I was a charity case, like $300 would fix the lifetime of being second best. I don't need your money. Naomi, don't be proud. I took the check, walked to the bathroom, ripped it in half, then quarters, then eighths, flushed it down Callie's perfect guest toilet, watched the pieces swirl away. Then I washed my hands and rejoined the party. Smiled the whole time. Later that night, Callie left her iPad charging on the kitchen counter. I was cleaning up, putting away leftovers nobody would eat. A notification popped up, a group message. The chat name, Cruz Family, Real Talk. I froze. We had a family group chat, one I was in, where Mom sent prayer requests and holiday schedules. This was a different one. I picked up the iPad, opened the message. My stomach dropped. Photos from tonight's dinner, inside jokes, conversations I wasn't part of. I scrolled up. Months of messages. My name appeared once. Cousin Andrew, is Naomi coming to Christmas? Mom, probably. She's still in her little artist phase, lol. Give her time. I screenshot it, sent it to myself, put the iPad back exactly where I'd found it. A week later, Mom was being honored at her women's club. Some award for community leadership. She'd mentioned it casually, didn't invite me directly. But I showed up anyway, dressed respectfully. Navy dress. Pearl earrings Grandma had left me, hoping for acknowledgement, a mention, anything. The room was packed, women I'd known my whole life, Mom's friends, her professional circle, She gave a speech, talked about her career, her volunteer work, her values. Then, I'm so grateful to have raised a daughter like Callie. Watching her succeed has been my greatest joy. A daughter. Singular. Not daughters. Daughter. I sat in the third row, visible, present. She looked right past me. Talked about Callie's achievements, her partnership, her cases. Didn't mention me once, not even in passing. I excused myself halfway through, walked home in the rain, cried the entire way. The next day, a woman came into the bookstore, mid-40s, professional, browsed the legal thriller section. We chatted while I rang up her purchases. She was warm, funny, easy to talk to. I actually work for a firm in DC, she mentioned. Corporate law. It's exhausting but rewarding. Oh wow. My sister works in corporate law too. Really? What firm? Whitman and Associates. Her name's Callie Cruz. The woman's expression changed, subtle but noticeable. Callie Cruz. Yeah, I know that name. Small world. Very small. She paused. Didn't she leave Whitman recently? I heard there was some situation. My heart skipped. Situation? Maybe I'm mistaken, but I thought she left suddenly. Firm-wide thing. She paid. Left quickly after that. I stood there, confused. Because Callie hadn't mentioned leaving her firm. What situation? I texted Callie that night. Casual. Hey, how's work going? She replied 3 hours later with a photo. Beach, sunset, cocktail. Living my best life. No mention of work. No details. I checked her LinkedIn, still listed as senior associate at Whitman and Associates, but the profile hadn't been updated in 8 months. I Googled Whitman and Associates investigation. Found a small article from 6 months ago. Law firm under internal review for billing irregularities. Several associates under scrutiny. One name mentioned in the comments, C. Cruz. My sister. I screenshot everything. At Sunday brunch, I casually asked Mom, did Callie change firms? Mom's fork stopped midair. Why would you ask that? Just curious. Someone mentioned they thought she'd moved. Don't be jealous, Naomi. You wouldn't understand that world. It's complicated. I'm not jealous. Callie's doing amazing, better than ever. Let's not talk about work at the table. She changed the subject, but her reaction told me everything. She knew something. And she was hiding it. I was helping clean out Grandma's storage unit. Mom had been putting it off for months. While she was sorting through old furniture, I saw her purse on a chair. A key ring attached to the outside. One key labeled, Unit 709 Callie. I recognized the storage facility. It was 2 blocks from my apartment. I memorized the number. Later that night, I went. The facility was open 24/7. Code access. I tailgated through the gate behind another customer. Found Unit 709. The lock was a simple combination. I tried Callie's birthday. It opened. Inside. Boxes. Dozens of them. Labeled. Organized. I opened the first one. Legal files, case documents, personal correspondence. One box was labeled confidential. Do not shred. I opened it with shaking hands. Inside the box, emails, letters, HR documents. One caught my eye. A formal letter from someone named Patricia Hoffman to Whitman and Associates Human Resources. Subject, complaint against Associate Callie Cruz, billing fraud. I read it carefully. Twice. Patricia had been Callie's assistant. She'd witnessed Callie padding billable hours, adding time to client accounts that hadn't been worked. Systematic fraud. Over 18 months. Affecting multiple clients. The firm had settled quietly, paid back the overcharged clients. Forced Callie out, but publicly, they'd called it a mutual departure. Callie hadn't been promoted, she'd been pushed out, and Mom knew. I photographed every document, uploaded them to a secure cloud drive, locked the unit, left. The next weekend, Mom hosted a family brunch, celebrating Callie's new chapter. Everyone gathered, extended family, Mom's friends. Mom stood to make a toast. I'm so proud to introduce my daughter Callie, our legal genius. She's taking some well-deserved time off before her next big opportunity. Everyone applauded. Callie smiled, humble, gracious. I sat there with a mimosa, knowing the truth, knowing Mom was lying to every single person in that room, and nobody questioned it, because Callie was the golden child, and golden children don't fail. Flashback to 2 years ago. I'd finally gotten my own apartment, a tiny studio, affordable because Mom had co-signed the lease. 3 months in, she called. I need to remove myself as co-signer. Financial reasons. What? You can't just... I already spoke to the landlord. You'll need to reapply on your own income. My income couldn't qualify. I made barely enough to survive. I was evicted 30 days later. couch surfed for 6 months, slept on friends' floors, in my car twice. Mom's response, "It's not my job to fund failure, you need to grow up." Meanwhile, Callie lived rent-free in a brownstone Mom had bought as an investment. When I asked about it, Mom said, "Callie's career required it. You work in a bookstore." Like my life mattered less. Like I deserved less. I wrote a poem that night. Called it The Invisible Daughter. About living in someone's shadow. About being loved conditionally. About watching one sibling worshipped while you're merely tolerated. I posted it to my blog. The one 7 people followed. It got shared, then shared again. By morning, it had 3,000 shares. Comments flooded in. "This is my life. Thank you for writing this. Are you okay?" One comment made me pause. "Is this about Callie Cruz?" Someone had recognized the details. The poem spread faster than I'd planned. My inbox exploded. 3 days later, a legal letter arrived. From a law firm I didn't recognize. Representing Callie Cruz. Cease and desist. Immediate removal of defamatory content. Threat of lawsuit. I read it twice. Then I screenshot it. Posted it to my blog with no caption. Just the image. The threat. The attempt to silence me. Let people decide what it meant. The internet decided quickly. Mom called me sobbing. "How could you do this to your sister? Do you enjoy tearing her down?" I stayed calm. I wrote a poem about my experience. "You're making her look bad. People are asking questions. Maybe she should answer them. You've always been jealous. Always wanted to ruin her." "I didn't ruin anything, Mom. I just finally spoke." She screamed something else. I couldn't make it out through the crying. I hung up. Felt nothing. The woman from the bookstore, the lawyer, messaged me on LinkedIn. "I wasn't just casually browsing that day. I work in legal compliance. I saw your blog post, the documents you referenced. I can verify they're real." My heart raced. How? "I have access to industry databases, whistleblower networks. What Callie did, it's documented. I can speak to it, anonymously if needed." "Why would you help me?" "Because I've seen too many people get away with fraud while the truth tellers get silenced. Let me know if you need a witness." I had an ally, someone with credibility. Game On, a podcast about family dynamics, reached out. They'd seen my blog, wanted me to tell my story. I agreed. I didn't name Callie directly, didn't have to, just told my truth. About being the invisible daughter, about watching one sister worshipped while I was shamed, about finding documents, about patterns of deception, about families built on lies. The episode released on a Tuesday. By Friday, it had 500,000 downloads. Comments exploded across social media. My story resonated. People saw themselves in it. A journalist from a legal publication picked up the thread, published an article, "The Dark Side of Legal Golden Girls, When Success Stories Crumble." Didn't name Callie directly, but the timeline matched. The details aligned. Anyone paying attention knew exactly who it was about. The article went viral in legal circles. Callie's LinkedIn profile disappeared the next day. Her Instagram went private. She was hiding. Mom texted me 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. "You're still invited this year. For the family, please be civil." I almost declined, but then I thought, why should I hide? I RSVP'd yes. But this time, I wasn't bringing just cranberry sauce. I was bringing truth. Thanksgiving arrived. Same house. Same people. Different energy. Everyone knew about the podcast, the articles, the controversy, but nobody mentioned it. We sat down to eat, pretended everything was normal. Mom stood to give her traditional toast. "I'm so grateful for my family, and I'm so proud of my brilliant daughter," I interrupted, calmly, clearly. "Which one? The one who defrauded clients? Or the one who survived you?" The room froze. 14 faces turned toward me. Callie's face went white. Mom's mouth opened. No words came out. I reached into my bag, pulled out a manila envelope, slid it across the table toward Mom. "This is who you built up. The daughter you praised, the one you chose over me." I opened it, let the documents spill out, billing fraud evidence, HR complaints, settlement agreements. "And this," I gestured to myself, "is who you buried me for." I stood up, grabbed my coat. "Enjoy your dinner," walked out. The fallout was immediate. My cousin shared the podcast episode in the family group chat. The real one, the one I wasn't in. Someone leaked more information. Other associates from Callie's firm, confirming the story. Callie deleted all social media. Mom sent a frantic group message. "We're being attacked. Don't respond to anyone." But people did respond. To me, privately apologizing, saying they'd had no idea. The perfect family image cracked completely. I wrote a letter to my mother, not to send, just to say everything I couldn't say to her face. I told her I didn't forgive her, that I probably never would. But I finally understood something important. She never saw me clearly enough to actually hurt the real me. She hurt the version of me she'd created, the disappointing daughter, the failure. But that person didn't exist. I was whole, talented, worthy, with or without her approval. I closed the notebook, put it away, let her go. 1 year later, my poetry chapbook hit #1 on an indie digital chart. The final poem was titled, "The Invisible Daughter Speaks." I was invited to read at a literary festival, small venue, intimate crowd. I walked up to the microphone, looked out at faces that wanted to hear my voice, people who valued my words. My name is Naomi Cruz. I'm a poet, a bookseller, a daughter who learned that being loved conditionally meant learning to love myself unconditionally. I read my work, heard applause, felt seen, not because I'd beaten my sister, not because I'd proven my mother wrong, but because I'd finally introduced myself on my own terms. The Beggar daughter became a best-selling voice, and that was more valuable than any approval I'd been chasing. I was free.